Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Did everyone have a beautiful weekend? Allison, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Have a little coffee moment. It is storming again. I don't know. We'll have to see if we do next winter on the boat or not. Maybe we'll rent a house in the French or Italian Alps. How does that feel? I think we're going to be doing that. But what an experience to be on the boat during the winter. Joe, good morning. How are you? Did everyone have a restful weekend? Did you allow yourself to rest, to receive, to play? I was telling Dave last night as we were getting ready for bed that it felt like that kind of weekend, just like so yummy. Cooked and cleaned the boat a little bit, and we have some neighbors who had their grandkids out, and their grandkids have been over to their boat a few times, and they love Lucy and Olivia. So they were out on the dock playing with the dogs, and it was so fun to watch Dave speaking French to these little kids and having them help fill up the water on our boat. It was just a weekend where I was very aware of the energy of miracles, where your brain is like, this is what you should do to be productive or whatever. And this beautiful surrender to the moment, the presence, the ease. It's just so much gratitude. Just beautiful. So I hope you had a gorgeous weekend as well. Elaine, good morning. Bonjour. Joe, gorgeous weekend with my girlfriends, hiking, watching movies, spending quality time. Oh my goodness. That's incredible. I think we forget sometimes, I know I have, as adults, how important friendships are. So I really love that you honored the time to do that. Really, really beautiful. All right, I had a little coffee moment, and then we're going to step into lesson 141, which is actually the beginning of a review. And I'm really grateful for that, because it's time. It's time to review some of what we've moved through. Any celebrations or miracles you want to drop in the chat, please do that. Father, Mother, God, Lord of all creation. Thank you. Honoring a moment to go inside and connect with the highest good inside of you, connect with spirit, God, life, love, and feel the safety in that connection. We ask today that connection is easy, that we are so aware of it, that it becomes our default, that the harmony, the backdrop, the music of our lives rides on the energy and the frequency of love, of ease, of abundance, of beauty, of leaning back, of allowing, and certainly of enjoying. This or something even better for the highest good of all concerned. Amen. Amen. Bella, missed you. It's Stacy, right? Bella, Stacy, is that right? Do I remember? Stephanie, you made it. Stephanie, I think you're going to be getting an email today because you're in You're in toot. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Welcome, Stephanie, into Tout est possible. Zaika, bonjour. Yes, it's Stacy. All right, gorgeous ladies. Let's move into 141. And again, if you're just joining us, please, share any celebrations from the weekend, any any miracles that you performed, received. And it is so beautiful to witness, the Course talks about this a lot, that there are no hierarchy. There's no hierarchy. There's no miracle that's too big, no miracle that's too small. There's no gravity of miracles, really. A miracle is a miracle is a miracle. And yet we have a tendency to compartmentalize that I want this kind of miracle, I want that kind of miracle, or with abundance, right? I want abundance in my life to look like this. It needs to look like money coming into my bank account. And we don't realize inside of that we actually squeeze, we limit the miracles, we limit the abundance, we limit the opportunity, the availability for spirit to pour into our lives. So it is really beautiful to just open yourself up to miracles. Miracles. I'm here for the miracles, all of them. And when you get that little inkling of, which is what happened to me this weekend, Dave was getting ready to go grocery shopping on, was it Sunday? Was it yesterday? Anyway, Dave was who knows, happy today. Dave was getting ready to go grocery shopping, and the store closes here in France at noon on a Sunday. And we don't have a car, so he walks to the closest grocery store. And when he was leaving, he said, you should take the girls out. The kids are here, meaning our neighbors had their grandkids over. And I was like, do you know what I mean? I was like in my zone. I was like in my pajamas, my sweats, like puttering around the house. And I was like, I don't really want to go. I don't really want to go outside. It's kind of in that mode. Didn't really want to go outside. And I felt this little opening in my heart. Just go. I was making up like I did to Dave when he was like, I'm not going to do it. Take the girls out by myself. I don't want to take them out by myself. But I felt that little call. And so he left and I was like, okay. I could feel the miracle. Oh, my earring just fell off. I could feel the miracle. I could feel the miracle calling. These are cute though, right? I could feel the miracle calling. And I said yes. And I just went outside and had the most beautiful, fun time with these little kids, I think they're 8 and 12 years old, laughing with the dogs, playing, watching their innocence, answering millions of questions in French about the dogs. How'd they get here? How'd they fly? How'd they do on the plane? What did they like? Lucy's calm. Olivia's a little crazy. It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. So all the miracles, right? Everywhere. And how they make us feel. All right, let's move in. Lily, bonjour, bonjour. Oh, I just found it. Did I just find it? I just found the back of the earring. Speaking of little miracles, that's why it's too loose. Weekend of integration, remembering, connecting with my inner self. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's have another little miracle moment as we step into lesson 141, which is going to be a review. Fresh grapefruit juice. It's a miracle. All right. So on Friday, we had lesson 140. Our salvation can be said to cure. Only salvation can be said to cure. And we have been talking about inside of the course. So it's not going to be lesson 141. It's going to be the review. We've been talking about that discernment of separation that the ego brings forward, the illusion, I should say, of separation that the ego brings forward in so many different contexts, inside of the body becoming sick, inside the illusion, inside of our mind that we are separate from others, inside of the protection that we might bring forward in the form of future planning, trying to control, manage, sustain the future in some way where we actually, again, limit. I love turning things on their head, on its head like this, where so many of us have been taught that the way we become successful is we plan. We're very strategic, right? We follow everything by the letter. We really we David, honey, babe, Nico's calling. Okay, just so you know, Nico, sometimes he needs parents' help still. Okay, where was I? So, in the moment, being in the moment, it's funny. I was just thinking about Nico as he's moving through this inside of school, where even watching him question these things like, is this how I'm supposed to be successful? Do I have to squeeze it? Do I have to force it? Do I have to push it? And there's nothing wrong with planning when we are allowing ourselves to listen and really follow through on what's being called through us. That the forcing, the pushing, the trying to figure it all out in advance, the freaking out, the worrying, the anxiety, the over-attachment to how things are meant to be. The Course says that's a form of protection. Instead, realize that there's nothing to do. Relax, listen, open, allow, come into alignment with who you are, prioritize time in the way that it was meant to, coming back into alignment with the loving. See yourself and others way past appearance into the wholeness from which we all came and in which we all still are. Be in a space of joy and happiness and gratitude. And then, where are you led? Where are you led? Utilizing our bodies as a form of communication instead of this is who we are and we have to fix something about ourselves or the way that we look in order to know we're whole. So let's move into this aspect of review. Okay, so it is going to go through 141 with the review. I forgot. Okay, perfect. So the introduction to the review, number 4. Now we review again, this time aware we are preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Today we will begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. Such is our aim for this review and for the lessons following. Thus, we review the recent lessons and their central thoughts in such a way as we facilitate the readiness that we would now achieve. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. I actually love this shift. So instead of feeling the planning, the overcompensation, let's call it that, right? When we're worried about the future, the Course is bringing forward readiness, which feels different in my body. Does it feel different in yours? Instead of like the planning, the squeezing, it's like the readiness. Let this be a moment of readiness. When I think about our event that's coming up in Paris in just a couple of weeks, is that possible? A little more than a couple of weeks, 2.5-ish weeks. That beautiful balance for me inside of preparing to be sourced, to gift, to receive, and the readiness that happens inside of me as I'm preparing myself for that conversation versus, again, there is this balance, right? There's planning to the extent of, well, we're having conversations with the hotel, right? There are things that we require to set the stage for this beautiful unfolding, but then there's really a letting go. And for me, again, this is why Essential Creation Day is Essential Creation Day now and not Essential Planning Day, because it's the readiness of the conversation with creation that we allow. All right. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My mind holds only what I think with God. This is a fact and represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. It is this thought by which the Father gave creation to the Son, establishing the Son as co-creator with itself, with himself, but with itself. It is this thought that fully guarantees salvation to you. For in God's mind, no thoughts can dwell but those, for in his mind, in your mind, no thoughts can dwell but those God shares. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought from your awareness. Yet it is forever true. Let us begin our preparation with some understanding of the many forms in which the lack of true forgiveness may be carefully concealed. Because they are illusions, they are not perceived to be but what they are. Defenses that protect your unforgiving thoughts from being seen and recognized. Their purpose is to show you something else and hold correction off through self-deceptions made to take its place. And yet, your mind holds only what you think with God. Your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth, no more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and going of the tides. The warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. So do we start each practice period in this review while readying our minds to understand the lessons that we read and see the meaning that they offer us. Begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. Open your mind and clear it of all the thoughts that would deceive, and let this thought alone engage it fully and remove the rest. My mind holds only what I think with God. 5 minutes with this thought will be enough to set the day along the lines which God appointed and to place God's mind in charge of all the thoughts you will receive that day. They will not come from you alone, for they will all be shared with Him, with God. And so each one will bring the messages of God's love to you, returning messages of yours to God. So will communion with the Lord of hosts be yours, as God itself has willed it to be. And as your own completion joins with God, so will God join with you, who are complete as you unite with God and God with you. After your preparation, merely read each of the 2 ideas as assigned to you to be reviewed that day. Then close your eyes and say them slowly to yourself. There is no hurry now, for you are using time for its intended purpose. I remind myself of this so often. When I'm resisting to sitting down and praying, meditating, and when I begin, and when I'm in. So it might be inside of my mind, think like, I'm really being called to do this. Tara, God, gift me, allow me, right? This would be a New Yorker aligned action in the allowing. Allow me to sit down and receive the prioritization of time in this moment. And then when I do sit down and I begin and I can feel that, has this happened? I know this has happened. This has happened, right? Where you sit down and you finally begin, you're like, oh, you feel a relief. And any kind of sense of urgency that may arise when you're meditating, when you're moving through the practice period, when you're in that silent communion with God, if there's any urgency of like, oh, I have to do that thing. Oh, what about that thing? To remind yourself, I am utilizing time as it was meant to be used right now. There is nothing, literally nothing more important than this. Nothing. And I find often, whatever it was that was trying to occupy my mind, I just have that energetic connection with it, really forming a central relationship is what we would say inside of Elegant Femme. Forming a central relationship with that thing, trusting it, knowing that I'm prioritizing time the way with which it was created, why it's here, what time is really for, and that thing, whatever was causing some temptation to pull me out, ends up resolving itself in some way without me needing to do anything about it other than prioritize time in connection with the truth. And the thing does its thing. It transforms. So it's a beautiful reminder. I love this. There is no hurry now, for you are using time for its intended purpose. Let each word shine with the meaning God has given it, as it was given to you through God's voice. Let each idea which you review that day give you the gift that God has laid in it for you to have of God. And we will use no format for our practicing but this. Each hour of the day, bring to your mind the thought with which the day began, and spend a quiet moment with it. Then repeat the 2 ideas you practiced for the day unhurriedly, with time enough to see the gifts that they contain for you, and let them be received where they were meant to be. We add no other thoughts, but let these be the messages they are. We need no more than this to give us happiness and rest and endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all God wills that we receive as the inheritance we have of God. Each day of practice, as we review, we close as we began, repeating first the thought that made the day a special time of blessing and of happiness for us, and through our faithfulness restored the world from darkness to light, from grief to joy, from pain to peace, and from sin to holiness. God offers thanks to you who practice thus, keeping God's word. And as you give your mind to the ideas for the day again before you sleep, God's gratitude surrounds you in the peace wherein God wills you be forever, and are learning now to claim again as your inheritance. Okay, so that's the beginning review, the review of the review. Okay, the entry part of the review. And then we have the lessons. Lesson 141 through 150 are going to be the review. So we've moved through this before in the review fashion, where you'll have 2 practice ideas that are reviewing for the day. So today, my mind holds only what I think with God. And so spending 5 minutes just allowing that, and then reading, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. And forgiveness offers everything I want. All right, beauties. This is our review for today. Forgiveness is the key to happiness, and forgiveness offers everything I want. If you want to take some time and go through again the review of the practice period, there are some really beautiful nuggets in there. So looking forward to the event in full prep mode to be ready. And that I remember I still have an exam the weekend before. Not ready for that yet. So receive and have fun and enjoy the preparation of things. We have this beautiful, opportunity where, again, we can move through life as this default of the next, and be in that state of almost checking things off in life, right? I have this thing, and then I have this thing, and then I have this thing. And it can bring up that anxiety, or even just wanting to get through something to get to the next thing. And when we settle into that feeling of readiness, that feeling of life, that feeling of joy, and we recognize that each thing, each event, each experience, each day, each moment, each second that we move through can be infused with so much joy and stillness, that we really do change the way that we move through life. We change the way we walk through things. We no longer have that sense of urgency of just trying to, which it's something we all need to be aware of, to look for. Like, am I in my head planning like this checklist of like, okay, I have this, and then I'm gonna have this, and then I'm gonna have this, and then I'm gonna have Christmas, and we fill our minds with this idea of the future experiences, checking things off. It doesn't mean that we're not aware of what's coming, like an exam, right? Or an event, or a flight, something. But to not obsess about just trying to get through it and really immerse ourselves, melt into the awareness of the experience itself, whether it's preparing for an exam, like really being in that focus, like Nico says when Nico has exams coming again. It's like, okay, I need to remind myself how to get locked in to the moment, right? The course might refer to that as like a holy instant, right? Becoming so freaking aware in that moment and opening ourselves up to receiving. When you're studying for an exam, when you're packing for a trip, when you're anything in the moment, to remember that we're actually in that moment. This moment right here, right now. We're all right here, right now. And when we slow ourselves down to that gorgeous awareness, we're open to abundance. If you've ever had the experience where you're trying to figure something out and you go on a walk and all of a sudden the idea comes, or you meditate and the thing resolves itself, or you're in that moment and the ideas flood forward, your mind is more ready to receive. Studying, right? We can worry about the thing, but when we're in the moment of readiness of connecting with the material, we receive it differently. We're excited about it, right? We're connected with it. So the beauty of the moment, such a simple thing to end with. But I encourage you today, as you move through the beginning of the review, to feel that, I want to say it this way. It sounds a little bit paradoxical, but the intensity of the beauty of the moment, the beautiful intensity of a moment, to slow things down so much that, and again, not scarcity of trying to squeeze every last drop out of life or every last drop out of every moment, but to really feel like, wow, look at me right here, right now, interacting with this physical world. How beautiful, how grateful. I wonder how beautiful my life can be. I wonder how beautiful this moment can be. I wonder what's available for me to receive today. I wonder if I lean back and really, truly listen in a way I never have before. If I slow down in a way I never have before, being aware of increasing my capacity to receive, knowing my mind exists with God, and the lack of forgiveness is something that stops me from receiving that truth. Forgive all of it, and be in that essence of love. So with that, have a beautiful rest of today. You're so welcome, Stephanie. You're so welcome. Have a beautiful rest of today. Enjoy the review. And no matter where you've been inside of yourself up until this point in the course, why not go all in even more? Utilizing today to lean in. Any kind of judgment you've experienced of not doing it correctly or not doing it perfectly or not whatever the ego might say, just today be like, you know what? What if today I just receive the gift of this conversation fully? All right, beauties. Have a gorgeous rest of today. Bonne journée. I will see you tomorrow.